Cluckinuts, and today we're going to talk about babies. Sassy's babies. Sassy had her babies the day before Cinco de Mayo. She was actually due on the 5th, but she went into labor on the 4th. And when I had come out to check on her that morning, she already had a mess on her. And as the day went on, she developed more mess, and she started actually acting like she was fixing to go into labor. And poor Sassy, she had a very rough labor. You know, it was roughly from the time that we started really seeing her having the contractions till she had the babies. It was probably a good 3, almost 4 hours. And she had lots of pushing, really good hard pushes, but she was regressing as she should have. So I ended up having to go in, you know, stimulate her a little more to kind of help her be able to have these babies. I did end up having to pull most of them. If y'all had watched the actual labor video, you would have seen me, you know, pulling babies. But we ended up with triplets, and they are so pretty. And I'm going to introduce y'all to each one and talk about each one and everything here. So this was the first one she had. He has the cutest little spots on his nose. I don't know if you could see him. He's kind of dusty right now. But he is black, and he has these little black little spots, and he doesn't have a lot of white. He's a little flashier than the others with his white. For now, we're just calling him Pico. We haven't fully decided if we are actually going to keep this little guy or not. And then he has the cutest little paintbrush tail there. So this little guy came out backwards, and so like he was positioned, I can kind of hold him, so he was positioned with his back feet coming out first. And at first I wasn't sure like how he was presenting. I mean, I could see the feet, but I wasn't sure if it was front feet or back feet until I actually was able to reach in a little more and found the tail. And so once I was able to get a hold of the feet, and with each contraction that Sassy had, I was able to pull him out. His head did get stuck though. He's got a pretty good size head, but he got stuck. So if we decide to keep this little guy here, his name will be Daisy Meadows Pico de Dot. Pico de Dot, sorry, Pico de Dot. We haven't fully decided on which buck that we're keeping yet. The one that we decide not to keep will be up for sale. So the second one born was this little buckling right here. And he is chocolate with a white belt. He has a white belt that goes all the way around, and he has moon spots. He also has a little crescent moon on his head. But it's funny that he has a moon spot on his butt. And he's a pretty good boy. We really like him. So for right now, we're calling him Churro. We are kind of leaning more of keeping him than Pico, just because of size and temperament. Churro here is very laid back. He doesn't get too excited about much, and he's really cuddly too. He's a really cuddly little boy. He came out just perfect. You know, the perfect presentation, with the front paws being up, or the hooves and all being up by his nose, and that coming out first. He came out just perfect. And you know, but by that point though, Sassy was really tired, and so I had to kind of help her with each contraction that she had, and each push just pulled on him just a little bit until he came out. And I really like this. I like this guy a little more than I do Pico. I love his coloring. I love his personality. Yeah, he's a sweetie. Him and Pico were both 2 pounds when they were born. So pretty good sized little boys, especially for triplets. So if we decide to keep him though, his name will be Daisy Meadows Churro. We probably will add a little bit more. We haven't decided. My husband wanted to call him Churro the Mexican Twinkie, but that's a bit long and it won't fit on the registration. But it's going to be interesting to see for sure which one we decide to keep. We're leaning more towards Churro here than Pico. And then finally, we got our little doeling. She was so tiny. And if you watch the video, you would have seen that she literally shot out. Like it was, I knew there was another one, so I was what they call bumping the doe. And so you stand on the other side of her and you kind of grab, put your hands under her belly and you kind of bump her a little bit to see if there's anything in there. And we knew there was one other. And so, but Sassy wasn't pushing. Like she was done. Like she would not push or anything, even though this little girl's bubble was literally right there. So again, went and kind of stimulated Sassy just a bit to encourage her to start pushing. And it literally was like 1-2 pushes, if that much. Like the bubble was there and then boom, here was this little girl. She literally shot out. I barely caught her. It was pretty crazy. So we are keeping this little girl. She would be considered a chocolate with minimal white. She doesn't hardly have any white on her except for a few little spots. Just a little bit, kind of a little bit of a pole top here. And they are horned. In fact, they actually get disbudded today. And then she's got a little bitty white on her tail. And she's really cute. She's really sweet. She's a diva though. She can be very much of a diva. If you don't hold that bottle right, you don't, hold her like she should be holding, she screams about it. And then if her brothers are picking on her, she's screaming about it. And she was a super tiny little girl. She was 1 pound and 5 ounces when she was born. So little, so tiny. So, her name is Daisy Meadows Ruffle Truffle. Isn't she cute? She's a little chocolate truffle there. So the reason they still have the Daisy Meadows instead of our Out of the Woods is because the owner that had Sassy, if you have a doe that you breed on your property and you currently own that doe and say you sell her pregnant, when the babies are born, they will still have your herd name, but they have the other people's tattoo. So that's how it is with these guys, is they have the herd name that we bought, from the lady that we bought them from, but they will have our tattoo on them, the ones that we decide to keep and register. I get jumped on a lot. So for sure we are keeping Miss Truffle here. We will be sending, as soon as we get the transfer back from, about Sassy's transfer, that she is transferred to our herd, then we will be getting their registration done. But yeah, we are going to keep Miss Truffle here, and it's going to be nice to see her grow and then see what kind of baby she produces. We've already decided that we're pairing her and Lucky together. So it's going to be really, really nice to see what we get. Our babies, 3 little cuties. So whatever buck that we decide to keep, then the other one will be available. He can go with his registration, he can go without, he can go as a wether. It just depends on one age, because by the time he reaches the age for us to wether him, if we have not sold him, then he will be weathered. Otherwise, he is going to be available. So if anybody out there wants to get them a little sassy baby, let us know. They're being bottle trained, and they are taking the bottle really, really well. And he's getting to be a big boy. Oh, when we weighed him the other day, the bucks were already up to about 6 pounds. And they're roughly a little over a week now. So they are growing really well. Even Miss Truffle has finally put on some weight. She's roughly about 5 pounds. She's not quite as big as her brothers, but she's getting there. So let me know what you think of them. And I would love to see and hear what y'all think. You know, drop your comments below. And if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. Please do like and subscribe to our videos. And watch these babies grow. And thanks for watching. Bye.